If you were born between the years of 1955 and 1985, and you are currently residing on the soil of the United States, you need to stop what you are doing and listen to the frequency of your own silence. This is not a metaphor. This is a calibration test. There is a specific demographic of people right now, sitting in living rooms from Oregon to Virginia, who are experiencing a set of symptoms that modern medicine is desperately trying to label as stress, burnout, or early onset aging. But if you look at your palms, or if you look into the mirror at 3 in the morning when you cannot sleep, you know that the diagnosis does not fit the sensation. You are not sick, you are being pinged. Let us be very precise about who I am talking to. I am speaking to the generation that bridged the analog and the digital, the souls who arrived here between 1955 and 1985. You are the ones currently feeling a sudden high-pitched ringing in the left ear that has nothing to do with tinnitus. It comes on like a sudden broadcast signal, loud, piercing, and then it vanishes as quickly as it arrived, leaving the room feeling strangely quieter than before. I am speaking to those of you who wake up in the morning after 8 hours of sleep, yet your body feels heavier than lead, as if gravity has doubled overnight. This is not exhaustion. This is magnetic density. You feel a profound, inexplicable sense of displacement. You look at the news, you look at your neighbors, you look at the frantic pace of the American culture, and a voice in the back of your head whispers, "I do not belong." You have felt this your whole life, but in the last 6 months, the volume has been turned up to a deafening level. Most people run to the doctor for this. They get prescriptions. They get told to do yoga. But Edgar Cayce, the father of holistic medicine and the man who accessed the Akashic records to heal thousands when science failed, called this something entirely different. He did not call it anxiety. He called it the awakening of the silent sentry. You have to understand the ground you are standing on. Cayce predicted that the Western lands, specifically the United States, would be the energetic cradle for the re-emergence of the Atlantean consciousness. He spoke of a specific group of souls, the Law of One, who were present during the fall of Atlantis, who would reincarnate in this specific timeline to prevent the same destruction from happening again. If you fall into that birth range of 1955 to 1985, your DNA is acting like a sleeper cell that has just been activated. The ringing in your ears is not a defect. It is a biological ping. It is your nervous system attempting to upgrade its bandwidth to process a higher frequency of information that is currently flooding the planet before the great shift of 2026. Think of your body as a radio that has been set to AM for 40 years, and suddenly the universe is trying to force an FM signal through your hardware. The static you feel, the brain fog, the dizziness, the sudden intolerance for loud crowds or synthetic foods is the friction of that upgrade. The sleeping prophet warned us about this time. He spoke of the sons of Belial and the children of the law of. He saw that before the earth changes, before the shifting of the poles, before the consciousness reset of 2026, the sentries would need to come online. But here is the tragedy. Most sentries think they are breaking down. You are sitting there thinking you are losing your mind because you can feel the emotions of people 3 rooms away. You are thinking you are depressed because the ambition you used to have for your career has dissolved into a meaningless grey ash. You look at the corporate ladder and it looks like a joke. That is not depression. That is your soul remembering its true mission. The architecture of your reality is crumbling because it was built on a foundation that no longer supports your vibration. This sense of displacement you feel in the United States is critical. Cayce identified this land as the new. You feel like a stranger here because you remember the old Atlantis. You remember the technology of crystals. You remember the healing of sound. You remember a civilization that operated on telepathy and harmony before it fell into greed and destruction. Your cellular memory is triggering because the United States is currently walking that exact same razor's edge between evolution and destruction. You were sent here to be the ballast. The fatigue you feel is the result of your energetic body doing heavy lifting in the astral planes, while your physical body tries to maintain a 9-to-5 existence. You are literally living two lives. By day, you are a parent, an employee, a citizen. By night, and in those moments of zoning out, you are a stabilizer for the planetary grid. Edgar Cayce described the human body not just as a machine, but as a temple where the endocrine system acts as the gateway to the divine. The pituitary and pineal glands are the receivers. That ringing sound, that is the pineal gland vibrating against the calcification of modern life. It is trying to crack open. If you ignore this, if you numb it with medication or distract it with entertainment, the symptoms will get louder. The universe does not let a sentry sleep on the job when the shift is 2 years away. We are approaching 2026. The energetic pressure is going to increase tenfold. Those born between 1955 and 1985 are the bridge generation. You hold the frequency. You are the ones who can remember a world without the internet, yet you can navigate the digital age. You have 1 foot in the earth and 1 foot in the ether. This dual nature causes immense internal tension, but that tension is what creates the bridge. You must reframe your pain. When the exhaustion hits you, do not say, "I am," say, "I am." When the ringing starts, do not shake your head to clear it. Stop. Listen. Ask, what is the... When you feel that wave of loneliness, that feeling that you are an alien on your own planet, realize that this is your badge of honor. It confirms your lineage. Only those who are from elsewhere feel strange here. The sleeping prophet saw you. He looked down the corridors of time through the Akashic records, and he saw a legion of souls dropping into the density of the 21st century to hold the line. He called it the time of trouble and the time of "you are the transition team." So, if this resonates with the marrow of your bones, if you feel a shiver traversing your spine right now, it is because your biology recognizes the truth. You are not a patient. You are not a victim of the times. You are a biological technology that is finally turning on. The shift of 2026 is not an end. It is a separation of worlds. And the symptoms you are feeling are the shedding of the old skin so that you can endure the new atmosphere. You are being prepared. You are being hardened. You are being tuned. I need you to confirm your station. If you have felt the ringing, the fatigue, or the displacement, you need to acknowledge it to solidify the contract. Speak to the algorithm of the universe right now. Drop a comment below and declare, "I am the do not just watch." Act. Confirm your lineage. Because once you admit what you are, the pain stops being pain and starts becoming power. The ringing stops being a noise and starts becoming a guidance system. We are going deeper into the rabbit hole of the 2026 prophecy, but we cannot proceed until we know who is awake. Are you the sentry? Now that you have confirmed your lineage as the sentry, we can unlock the heavy door. We are entering the Hall of Records. Edgar Cayce called this the indelible storehouse of every thought and every action that has ever occurred or will occur. When the sleeping prophet closed his eyes and drifted into that self-induced slumber, he did not see the future as a fixed stone wall. He saw it as a river of probabilities. But there is one specific current in that river that has now become a roaring rapid leading directly to the horizon of 2026. Most of the world is looking at this date with trembling hands and fearful eyes, because they are interpreting the signs through the lens of Hollywood disasters and political fear-mongering. They see a blackout. They see the collapse of the banking system. They see the lights going out in the cities. But when we consult the Akashic data, the picture changes completely. What looks like a disaster to the sleeping masses is actually a mercy to the awakened soul. We need to reframe your understanding of this event right now. 2026 is not an end. It is a vibrational circuit breaker. Think about how the electrical system in your own home operates. When the surge of power becomes too great and the heat in the wires threatens to burn the entire structure down, the breaker does not ask for permission to flip. It simply cuts the connection. It severs the flow to save the house. For the last 100 years, humanity has been running on a high-voltage current of artificial materialism and synthetic conflict. We have built structures that are not aligned with the natural laws of the universe or the spiritual science that Cayce spent 40 years mapping out. The pressure has been building. The artificial frequencies of control and fear have spiked into the red zone, and the universe in its infinite intelligence is preparing to flip the switch. This is what the horizon of 2026 represents. It is the dismantling of artificial structures that can no longer be sustained by the organic energy of the planet. It is the great pause. And this brings us directly to you and the crushing isolation you have felt for the last 36 months. You have been asking yourself why your social circle has evaporated. You have wondered why you can no longer relate to the people you have known since childhood. You have looked at your family members and felt like you were observing a different species from behind a pane of thick glass. You have diagnosed yourself with depression or social anxiety, or perhaps you just thought you were losing your mind. Let me tell you what the Hall of Records says about your condition. You are not depressed. You are in protective quarantine. This is a specific protocol known in spiritual science as the preservation of the seed stock. If you were fully integrated into the collective hive mind right now, you would be vibrating at the same frequency as the system that is about to trip the breaker. If you were connected to the mass hysteria and the trivial pursuits of the sleeping population, you would be wired into the very circuit that is destined to blow. The universe had to unplug you early. It had to sever your connections to the dying world to ensure that you did not go down with the ship. This isolation was not a punishment for your failures. It was a strategic maneuver to clear your biomagnetic field of the static noise that infects the rest of the population. You are being kept apart because you are being cultivated. Edgar Cayce spoke often of the remnant, or the group of souls who would hold the light when the darkness of transition fell upon the earth. To hold that light, you must possess a very specific vibratory rate. This rate cannot be achieved in a crowd. It cannot be achieved while you are engaging in the low-density drama of modern society. It requires silence. It requires the long, dark nights where you are forced to face your own reflection. It requires the shedding of external validation until the only thing left standing is your core spirit. You have been placed in this spiritual incubator to develop an immunity to the panic that will consume the world in 2026. When the circuit breaker flips and the artificial structures of finance and government momentarily dissolve, the masses will fall into absolute chaos because their identity is tied to the machine. They will not know who they are without the feed. But you will remain standing. Because you have already lived through the blackout of the soul. You have already survived the silence. You have already learned how to source your energy from the internal battery rather than the external grid. Your isolation was the training ground for this exact moment in history. The loneliness was actually a frequency tuning. The universe was adjusting your dial away from the station of fear and towards the station of command. You are the backup generator for the human spirit, and a generator does not run when the grid is working perfectly. It sits in the dark. It waits in the cold. It remains silent and alone until the moment the lights go out. And then it kicks on. That is why you are here. That is why you have been set aside. You are the biological technology that has been engineered to bridge the gap between the old world and the new earth. This is confirmed by the glandular changes Cayce predicted. He spoke of the pituitary and the pineal glands acting as the gateway for the influx of higher consciousness. During this quarantine phase, your body has literally been rewriting its own genetic code to handle higher voltage. The fatigue you feel is the energy cost of that rewrite. The ringing in your ears is the sound of the upgrade. So I need you to stop looking at your life as a series of broken relationships and missed opportunities. Those bridges were burned to prevent you from retreating. Those doors were locked to keep you focused on the corridor ahead. You are walking the path of the initiate, and the initiate must always walk through the valley of shadow before ascending the mountain of light. We are now approaching the core of the mystery. We have established that the event is a correction and your isolation is a protection. But there is a specific mechanism that will allow you to navigate the transition of 2026, while others are lost in the confusion. It is a technique that was lost when the Library of Alexandria burned, but remains etched in the etheric records accessed by Cayce. It involves the conscious direction of the life force through the three centers of the body. If you do not master this, you will simply be a battery that drains itself dry, trying to save everyone else. We are about to give you the operational manual for your own energy system, but you must understand that this knowledge carries a weight. Once you know how to operate the circuit, you become responsible for the current. We are going to reveal the three-point anchor that stabilizes the consciousness during a planetary shift. But first, you must solidify the realization of your quarantine. You must accept that your loneliness was a necessary shield. Do you accept your training? Do you accept that you were separated to be saved? Do not remain passive in this realization. The contract must be signed with your intent. Go to the comments and declare your acceptance of this phase. Write these words. I accept the. Tell the universe you understand why you had to walk alone. Tell your higher self that you are ready to stop mourning your isolation and start utilizing it. I accept the. Once you have done that, you are ready for the three-point anchor. We are moving to the final key. And now we arrive at the center of the labyrinth. We arrive at the mechanism that separates the sleeper from the awakened. You have accepted the quarantine. You have acknowledged that your isolation was a form of protective custody arranged by your own higher self. But protection is not passive. Protection is an active, resonant state. Edgar Cayce spoke of a time when the Earth would undergo great shifts. He spoke of the shifting of the poles, but he also spoke of a shifting in the mental atmosphere of humanity. He saw a time when the noise of the world would become so deafening that it would shatter the nervous systems of those who were not prepared. Look around you. Look at the headlines. Look at the frantic energy in the eyes of the people at the grocery store. We are approaching a singularity of confusion. The year 2026 is not just a date on a calendar. It is a vibrational threshold, and as we move closer to this threshold, the static is going to get louder. The fear is going to get louder. The electronic interference with your natural biorhythms is going to reach a peak intensity. If you are trying to fight this chaos with your intellect, you will lose. If you are trying to analyze the storm, you will be swept away by it. There is only one shield that works. It is not a bunker. It is not a stockpiling of gold. It is a biological and spiritual frequency that Cayce referred to as the creative force flowing unimpeded through the temple of the body. We call this the immutable vibration. And you are here because you are genetically and spiritually designed to hold this vibration when everyone else drops it. This is the secret that the readings hinted at over and over again. Cayce described the body as having spiritual centers. He spoke of the Leyden gland as the door. He spoke of the pineal gland as the eye. but the engine that powers the entire system is the heart. Modern science has finally caught up to what the sleeping prophets saw 80 years ago. We now know that the magnetic field of the heart is 5,000 times stronger than the magnetic field of the brain. Think about that number, 5,000 times stronger. The immutable vibration is a specific state of heart-brain coherence. It occurs when the rhythm of your heart creates a sine wave that perfectly synchronizes with your brain waves. When you enter this state, you become invisible to the chaos. You become invisible to the fear narratives, because you are vibrating at a rate that is higher than the frequency of the problem. This is the ultimate shield. The chaos of the American storm operates at a low, jagged frequency. It operates on the frequency of survival and division. But the immutable vibration operates on the frequency of unity. When you hold this frequency, you create a field around you that is approximately 8 feet in diameter. Within that 8 feet, the laws of chaos do not apply. Within that 8 feet, there is only order. There is only silence. And this is where your true mission begins. You are not just learning this to save yourself. You are learning this because you are a keeper. In the coming years, the United States is going to go through a profound identity crisis. The structures are shaking, the old agreements are breaking down, and millions of souls are going to be looking for something to hold on to. They will be looking for stability in a sea of vertigo. They will not find it in the government. They will not find it in the media. They will find it in you. This is why you were isolated. This is why you were trained in the silence. You were being calibrated to become a lighthouse. A lighthouse does not run into the storm to save the ships. A lighthouse does not scream at the wind. A lighthouse simply stands on the rock and shines. It keeps its light steady regardless of how high the waves crash. You are that lighthouse. The immutable vibration is your light, and you must learn to activate it on command. We are going to initiate the protocol right now. I want you to listen closely to these instructions, because this is the technique that aligns the physical body with the memory of the soul. It connects the finite with the infinite. You do not need to be in a cave to do this. You can do this in traffic. You can do this in a meeting. You can do this in the middle of a family argument. Step 1 is the breath of the spirit. Cayce said that breath is the bridge. You will inhale deeply for a count of 4. You will hold that breath for a count of 4, and you will exhale for a count of 4. As you breathe, I want you to shift your attention away from your thoughts. Move your mind down into the center of your chest. Imagine that you are breathing through your heart. Imagine that the air is entering and leaving through the center of your chest. Step 2 is the recall of the ideal. While your focus is in your heart, I want you to summon a feeling. Not a thought, but a feeling. Summon the feeling of absolute appreciation. It could be for a pet. It could be for a sunset you saw 10 years ago. It could be for the divine force itself. Hold that feeling in the chest. Amplify it. Make it bigger than your body. When you do this, you are physically altering the geometry of your magnetic field. You are creating the immutable vibration. You are locking the door against the static. The anxiety cannot touch you here. The confusion cannot enter this space. This is the eye of the hurricane. And step 3 is the keeper's oath. This is the most important part. You must consciously accept your role as the stabilizer. You must say to yourself that I am the one who holds the line. When the world goes dark, I stay lit. When the people around me panic, I breathe. I am the anchor. I am the ground wire for the high voltage that is hitting this planet. This is the secret of the Akashic records regarding your generation. You are the volunteers who agreed to be on the ground when the shift happened. You agreed to be the human instruments that tune the orchestra of humanity. It is a heavy burden. I know it is heavy. I know you are tired. I know you have asked the universe why it has been so hard. It has been hard because the training for a lighthouse keeper is rigorous. You cannot be afraid of the dark if you are the one holding the light. And now the training wheels are coming off. The storm is gathering. The year 2026 approaches, and the world needs you to take your post. The world needs you to stop doubting your sensitivity. Your sensitivity is your radar. The world needs you to stop trying to fix the unfixable and simply be the vibration of peace. You are the medicine. Your presence is the cure. Every time you activate this heart coherence, you are healing the collective consciousness of this nation. You are knitting the fabric of reality back together. So I have to ask you one final time. Are you ready to take the oath? Are you ready to stop being a victim of the chaos and start being the master of the vibration? Are you ready to be the lighthouse in the American storm? If you feel the truth of these words in your solar plexus, then you are one of the keepers. You know who you are. We need to seal this contract right now. We need to anchor this frequency into the digital record. I want you to go to the comments section and leave your mark. I want you to declare your identity to the algorithm and to the universe. Type these words. I am the... Do not just type it. Feel it as you type it. Feel the weight of the responsibility and the glory of the mission. I am the... Let the others see your declaration. Let us find each other in the comments. Let us see how many keepers are awake. Let us build a grid of light that spans this entire continent. I am the... This is your protection. This is your purpose. And this is only the beginning.